What was the best you have no power here moment you have ever seen? Taught my 6th grade students about democratic processes, and we ran a simulation. Without fail, every one of my classes tried to impeach me. Well, I feel a lot less original now Lamau. I'm a college student and last year we had a class about Congress in which part of the class was simulation based. I got the idea to impeach our professor and it soon became a bipartisan effort. The professor was pretty cool about it. When we submitted the articles, one of which included accusing him of murdering Jeffrey Epstein, he jokingly banged his fists on the table and called us all traitors. After the impeachment vote passed, the speaker told him the Senate will decide your fate and he was in the loop enough to know that the acceptable response was I am the Senate. Edit. We did end up successfully removing him from office. Before these shenanigans started, I asked him casually who the VP was, in case the Senate ends up in a tie vote. As a result, we already knew who his successor would be, in this case the DA. Edit 2. Because some people seem to have trouble believing this is a real story, here is a link to an excerpt from a memo I had to write near the end of the semester. You can see references to the impeachment on the lower left-hand corner, along with Epstein. My professor was also pretty young, so it's not really surprising that he'd know a lot about the Star Wars prequels. Professor, this is outrageous, it's unfair. How can you be the professor in charge and not have dictatorial authority? Take a seat, young UIT spread. Turn to page 394. Fool of a blue weeb. Read it yourself next time and rid us of your stupidity. My favorite Jean-Luc Picard quote. I suggest avoiding windows. It's too dangerous to be left alive. Roger Roger. Ooh Annie Misa so horny. Oh fuck, wrong thread. My optics are burning from reading that. This is also sound advice if you say something in Russia that doesn't praise Putin/the oligarchs. Calm down UIT spread. Now this is prequel memeing. It's treason then. Underestimate my tenure. Limited tenure? My old music teacher used to say this is not a democracy, this is a dictatorship. I miss that man. I wonder if he was referencing Bring It On / not another teen movie. This is not a cheerocracy, this is a cheertatorship and I'm the cheertator. Reminds me of my first day of driver's ed in high school. The teacher, an old, nearly retired assistant football coach, said this is a democracy, but I'm the head Democrat. The professor sounds amazing. Just from what you told me now he's already up there with my last math teacher who made math memes and let us make some as well. He also got other teachers into Pokemon Go during a school holiday, which was pretty hilarious to witness. Reminds me of my current IB physics teacher. He has a wall of memes and shows us more every class, and when we finish our labs and classwork for the day he lets us gamble for paper answers, only the formative homeworks OFC. We even bought an electric card shuffler for like $5 and used it to play poker. Will forever have flashbacks every time I see a Briton somewhere. As a former IB student, trust me when I say that in the end, it will all not be worth it. Good luck with your studies, smile. Ending up getting my IB diploma only to have it not count towards pre-med at my university and having to retake all those classes lol. Definitely wasn't worth it for B, but I will say that the rigor helped me a bit for college. Fuck man, that sucks. If I remember correct, I counts towards all the different uni subjects in my country. Don't know about the rigor, I think the regular programs would have given me the same results. But who knows? Yeah, the problem is that medical schools only accept classes taken at the university. Kinda wish I knew that before taking IB classes. I do think that if I didn't do IB, I'd still probably be prepared too. I remember when it was testing season and I had a paper or exam almost every day for 2 weeks. That feeling became the norm in university when it was finals week. Are you from outside the US? I kind of want to go to a US university and it's pretty much a requirement there. Which university in the US requires IB? Most public universities here barely know about it and give more course credit for AP, a fact that wounds me, an IB grad, greatly. Been lied to. Fuck are you talking about? Nobody requires it. I've been deceived. Well, it still was my parents' wish, so I didn't have that much of an opinion on it. Yeah, I took for 2 reasons, one being I wanted to make sure I could study outside my own country if I ever decided I wanted to, but then I ended up staying here so I didn't really have a use for my diploma. Also, uni here is free, no tuitions or anything, so yeah. US wasn't that attractive. Food. I just keep seeing his irritable bowel. Reminds me of my physics teacher back in like 1995. He was fucking hilarious and honestly didn't give a fuck how you did stuff as long as you were trying. Our school's lab was literally from the 1950s, so most of our experimental results were more or less random values. It was common and accepted by him to say this was the expected result. Since the school board won't fund us, we made these pretty graphs of random dots. He also looked like a mad scientist with white and dark gray curly hair that stood up from his head like he'd just grabbed a live wire. One of my favorite teachers by far. Administration, we have reports you are encouraging gambling and actively gambling with your students. Professor, I encourage a healthy understanding of statistics and game theory. Card shuffler go brrrrrr. Read that his wallet of memes and was completely charmed. My IBHL math teacher terrorized us with his tests but was such a chill dude, we all loved him. Played video games during exams, had math memes made into shirts and posters we put up on the walls, even got on the phone with me when I called a classmate after getting into a car accident as I was heading to the school on the morning of our final math exam. Took her phone and calmed me down while I was practically sobbing by the side of the road, scared I was going to miss it, and chatted with me while I waited for help. IB teachers are something else, man. I got so many stories from them, each had their own cool quirks, but he was top tier. Thanks for appreciating the effort. It may feel a little awkward, but let your professors know you appreciate that stuff. It would mean the world to them. I used to try to slip in an occasional funny reference or meme in my lectures, but my students always complained that I went off topic on my end of semester course evaluations. So then I got more serious and started giving them a more traditional, cut and dry PowerPoint lecture. My evaluation said I was boring. I just want to share important research and ideas in accessible and engaging ways. I don't know, maybe higher education is dead. Let's all just read Wikipedia and take the online test, I guess. I just started university and I gotta say that if there are a lot of people following your courses, you're either going to be considered boring or you're going off topic too much. It's hard to please everyone, but you just gotta know that a lot of people probably still consider you a good teacher. They might not say it or know it yet, but you just gotta do what feels right. Hey, if I were your student, you'd have my attention. Thanks, smile. Love fun teachers like that. I had one my senior year who was working on her doctorate, so still young, and she'd have an engineering-related meme next to the sign-in sheet at every lab. My old programming teacher set up LAN parties in the computer lab so his classes could play against each other on a game called Savage. Long time ago. He's not a professor anymore. He's been impeached. Pokemon Go is life. I wish I had that math teacher, haha. My professor hates the idea of adding to his students' stress during finals week, so his final is due like a month before class ends. However, his boss still requires a final the last week, so he came up with the idea of having to make memes out of stuff from the semester. Being a history class, this was extremely easy and hilarious, and when we shared in class, it was really funny of the specific humor that can be had with history students. It's beating the system and doing it in style. I like it. I'm a high school math teacher. I've tried to make memes and stuff for my class. It didn't turn out very well. Now I just let the kids worry about the memes. But I do put Calvin and Hobbes comic strips on each test, or at least I did in the before times when we met in person and gave out paper tests. Reminds me of the best teacher I ever had, in advanced math, didn't know the English equivalent but irrational numbers etc. He was this long-haired dude who would always wear an army jacket. Each lesson he would play a song and had us marching in a line to the theme song, and you know class was dismissed when he put on the outro song. He always said he didn't believe in money and for that reason refused to work on Fridays. This one time the fire alarm went off. It was a false alarm, and he went, I'm gonna go check it out, I'll be back. The alarm eventually went quiet and he came back 5 minutes later. We asked him what happened and he went, I went to get coffee. Last day before Christmas holiday we were dreading 2-hour math class at the end of the day, and we come into the classroom and the guy has turned off the lights and lit candles and proceeded to read us a Christmas story for class and then sent us home early. Also gotta give a shout out to the lunch man in the cafeteria for cracking me up. Once for lunch we had salmon sauce and I asked him what was in it, and he replied a salmon and sauce. Reminds me of my high school math teacher, 20 years ago. He would bring a potato to class every month, paint a face on it, set it up in the chalk tray, and talk to it when the class wasn't asking or answering questions. What's that, potato head? You want me to remind you what the quadratic equation is? Sure. That's right, Potato Head. The answer is, sometimes he would teach us to the tune of the VeggieTales theme. Or he'd jump and swing his arms around like he was a cheerleader. Once, I was in Spanish class across the hall from his classroom and my teacher had us sing a song in Spanish. When we were done, we heard applause and cheering from his room and he came in to congratulate us. He was a goofy guy and an excellent teacher, so I think we generally just paid attention to him to see what he'd do next. I could totally see him doing math memes and Pokemon Go, too. A Calc 2 teacher in high school played Skyrim during our exams and we made t-shirts with his catchphrases. Love that guy so much, wholesome dude. Hellish class though, I hated math and he loved trick questions that tested you hardcore. My gov teacher had the class do a filibuster in a fake Congress scenario, and some guy from the theater class completely monopolized the whole time. I think he was reciting lines from the performance they were doing at the time. It was pretty wild and we ended up getting extra credit because we won. How long did the filibuster last? Says it's done. He's still going to this day. Last I heard, he's made it up to Hamlet. Till the extra credit was given. Teacher stopped lecturing 10 minutes before the end of class and told us to hold him captive until the bell rang. Thanks, Cock Daddy Karen. Cue alert, did the class pick one person to do it or could you tag team in as and when? Not a dumb cue, anybody could, but somebody had to be talking at all times. I think if there was a pause longer than 5 to 10 seconds we would lose. The one guy just never stopped talking. I've known a few people like that. I, myself, have been known to be one on occasion, when given half a chance to speak freely about a topic upon which I feel strongly, am considerably knowledgeable about, or which I have great passion towards. Indeed, there have been times when I find myself dominating a conversation, not intentionally, of course, but because I'm trying to convey a point and I'm not entirely certain I've explained it properly. So what results is sort of a disjointed logorrhea. Why, I recall this one time, at the Model United Nations, the Security Council was kidnapping delegates from various other areas, but I was in the WHO and didn't get kidnapped because I was sitting in our room, drafting a resolution, and somehow didn't manage to notice that none of the delegates who left the room and went out into the hall, stayed for the bathroom or for water, none of them were returning, and I persisted in my lack of observation until it became my turn to speak. Whereupon I went up to the podium and promptly discovered that less than half our number was present, the rest having been captured by the Security Council. Upon realizing this, I promptly forgot half of what I was going to say about the actual matter at hand, the Ebola outbreak we were supposed to be working on, but we still managed to receive best delegation for our work in the WHO. Anyway, meetings continued until morale improved. Charlie Kelly would like to have a word on filibusters. Knew I recognized your username but wasn't sure what from. Went on your profile and saw the waitress starter pack, the 21st of September comment, the Bindaroos comment, and the unrealistic movie CPR comment, the posts I remembered you from, upvoted OFC, bit of a coincidence that I've seen you 5 times on Reddit completely by accident. Comment so much more than I should. You'll probably see me again. Smile, good meeting you. I'll comment as much as you like. Hopefully. Nice talking to you. Did it go something like this? Love how interested Andy is. Sounds like a great professor. Did he then attempt to throw all the desks in the lecture hall at the speaker before engaging him in hand-to-hand combat? So I threw the classroom at him. The whole classroom. True story. Yes. /no butalk. Top butalk? Should I have a top one? I only have the left and the right. Don't have a top one? Buddy, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I don't think you have a butthole, you only have a butt crack. You need 3 vertices to make their midpoint a point, and not just a line. Condolences, skeptical. And professors that have fun with their students make all the difference. I did IT in college, and it was so different going between the actual IT professors, and the everything else professors, math, language, electives, etc. The actual IT professors were always playing games with us. I remember one time, back in the old days when you could actually do this, before protected memory spaces and all that jazz, one of the assignments was to write an assembler program that would take a memory address, and zero it out. We would then play an IT version of Battleship, calling out different memory addresses against our opponent, seeing who could crash or otherwise render inoperative the other's computer first. Computer security is great these days, But goddamn, I miss those kinds of shenanigans. Did the TA pardon him, name him new VP, then step down? No. In spite of what the memes would have you believe, this couldn't actually happen in real life. Any new vice president must be confirmed by Congress first, and it's unlikely that a president that was just removed from office would be allowed to become VP. Pardoning part isn't a meme. Did an exercise in my high school civics class where we were split up into 3 countries, each with its own food /military /production numbers. One group had lots of military power, another had high food, and my group was the weakest with lots of people and nothing else. We were to talk amongst our group with what our plan would be to survive, team up with another group and take over the last, or go to war with all groups. My group was gonna get owned by either of the other groups, we knew that. When time to do the roundtable discussion with the group leaders, I managed to negotiate a truce between all 3 countries. Teacher said it was the first time it's happened. It's all fun and games until he pulls out a lightsaber. But did he have the high ground? Master Yoda never told you what happened to my fate. He told me enough. He told me the Senate will decide it. No, I am the Senate. No, it's not true. That's impossible. Wish I had class with that professor. Should have called Mace Windu to come remove him. But did you tell his mentee that he's too dangerous to be kept alive, then you got yeeted out the window? Well, I feel a lot less original now, Lamau. Still original, just not unique. Nothing wrong with independently coming up with an idea that someone else already has. If you said I am the Senate and unsheathed his red saber, he would have been reinstated immediately, correct? How many Jedi did he kill before you removed him? I'm so happy to finally be able to tell this story. Back in high school history class, every year my teacher did a project where the class was split into groups and each group represented one of the original 13 colonies. Each colony had a list of legislation it needed to pass, and each piece was worth varying points depending on how important it was to said state. At the end of the project, if the class ratified the Constitution, each group was graded based on their legislations being passed or not passed. If the Constitution was not ratified, everyone got a C. It's important to note that my particular year we were short a person, so my teacher sat in on the Delaware group. Was in a southern state group and things did not go well for us. Unfortunately, our most important pieces of law were slavery and tobacco. Obviously slavery didn't fly, but for some reason we also outlawed tobacco. Our group was going to fail if we ratified the Constitution. So I did some slinking around and made some deals, including with the teachers group, and managed to defeat the Constitution. We even had a recount call. A lot of people were none too happy with me, but fuck it. I needed to not fail. I Jedi, I approve of these shenanigans. Our 7th grade advanced history teacher has her kids divide up into loyalist and rebellious factions against the crown as American colonists when she teaches about the Revolutionary War. They have jobs, earn fake money to pay taxes, fines in the classroom. It is a whole big thing she does. She taxes everything they do so they understand how bad it was for the colonists. Last year one of the guys I work with formed a gang, Highwaymen. We cornered the kids in the hall and stole their project money. Because we role-played it all and was cool with the other teacher, I convinced several of them to stage a real protest up in the front office. I got a parrot to watch my class, they made signs, and we went up and protested against the excessive abuses of the crown, in this case their teacher, who had recently taxed them into bankruptcy and threw them into debtor's prison, the corner of the classroom. She also wears a crown those entire couple of weeks. It's hysterical. I love teaching for stuff like this. Sir, had an awesome professor. That's a story to tell for years. I refused to step down, and the army is with me. Do you want a dictator? Because that's how you get a dictator. Did he whip out a red lightsaber and twirl in front of them? Feel like a political science class that explored the theories and ideas of PS through in-class simulations for an entire semester would be dope as fuck. Well, I feel a lot less original now, Lamau. After the impeachment vote passed, the speaker told him the Senate will decide your fate, and he was in the loop enough to know that the acceptable response was I am the Senate. Probably not as original but the best one.